Well, hello, everybody. This is Michael Harper, and I've got Marc Mandel with us today. And this is Experience Friday Live, where we take some time to talk about what is most important in the world of experience. So, customer experience, employee experience, patient experience, user experience, all those X's that come together make us a big important thing of how we work together with our business and our strategy. So, quickly, some announcements looking ahead. We do have Experience Friday Live coming up in a couple of weeks, and we will look forward to seeing you again. We have Buza Rios, who is the former chief revenue officer of the company that you know and will want to be a part of. And so you'll want to check in with us in a couple of weeks for sure to make sure that you catch that. So please make sure you join us for that. And we always start with an opportunity to just talk about why we do this. And I'm going to cheat a little bit today because we're going to get into a trend report that Marc has put to our attention. And I love the way that the report begins. And I'm reading. So while generative AI may be the loudest in the room, the human experience should always be a company's North Star. I don't know if anyone could say any better that if when we lose track of the human experience, that's when we have trouble with our companies. And even if you're a short-term leader, a long-term leader, if you can just put the right energy, and it doesn't have to cost a fortune, if you just put the right energy in the right direction in your strategy about experience, you're going to see better success all around. So let's jump in and let me introduce our guest today. We have Marc Mandel, who is with Question Pro. He's a seasoned customer experience management professional with over 25 years of dedicated experience. He's been at the forefront of transforming customer interactions into lasting relationships across various industries. His journey has taken him through the realms of strategy development, team leadership, and innovative solution implementation, enabling businesses to not only meet but exceed their customer expectations, which, as we know, leads to increased revenue and increased success. So welcome to the show, Marc Mandel.
Thanks for letting me be here. It's great to be here. And by the way, that intro that you just gave for me sets a very high bar for the day. So for a Friday, that's a high bar you're setting.
Yeah, you're gonna mess all of our Fridays up if you don't deliver on this. So
it's gonna be a rough one, but we'll get there.
There it goes.
With your help, we'll get there.
There you go. So, Marc, our first question to all of our guests is hopefully a simple one, and it's why do you do what you do?
Because I love it. At the end of the day, I'm a results guy. I don't believe anymore that this is only about the actions we take. It's about the results we get and the impact of those results. And ultimately, there's nothing more impactful than helping a company think about the people that they serve, their customers and their employees and the markets that they're in a different light. Too many times companies think of their customers and employees as ledger entries and spreadsheet rows. And they lose fact that you're saying in the intro that they're people, and people have needs, wants, feelings, expectations, and ability, and frankly, money to share with you.
Right.
And if we can satisfy and truly understand what motivates and delights them, the likelihood is they will be more than willing to share more of their wealth with us. And I've seen this for year after year after year that we get results, and results are what matters. And when I say results, I mean our customers get results, and their customers and their employees all get better outcome than they could have ever gotten before.
And I don't want to derail our conversation from the topic that we've set up for today, but oh my goodness, why is it so hard for some leaders to get their head around what it means to be a CX, PX, EX leader?
Well, it's going to pain me to say this, but, we'll call it the industry that I and my competitive peers sit in. Is largely considered a technology industry.
Mm-hmm.
right? And we try to solve human problems with technology. And at the end of the day, technology plays a key role in the process, but it's only part of the toolbox. It's part of the means and never part of the ends. And very often, leaders in our industry have kidded themselves into believing simply by at face value, the implementation of technology causes outcomes to happen, and it does not. It's how we use the technology and, more to the important, the information in it. And if we say, well, we ran a survey, why don't our customers like us better? It's a misguided precept to think that's even possible. And a lot of leaders who don't have a really accurate and more honest view of the business think technology is the solution. And over the last 5 to 10 years, they've thrown a lot of money at technology. And rarely has it proven to be the solution. And so now they feel a little jaded by it, or a little misguided by it, or overspent in it. And they really want to know, some people have said, the luster is coming off the whole experience management world now. You guys, to advertise this call, we're asking the rhetorical question, is customer experience dead?
Mm-hmm.
It's not dead. It'll never be dead. It's like saying surveys are dead. People said surveys are dead 20 years ago. They're still doing more than ever, right? But
right.
In reality, we're going to continue to be humans. We're going to continue to have experiences, and we're going to continue to need to look after those people and the experiences they're having. So this is about, we're hitting a inflection point. This is not a death point, right? We're hitting an inflection point where people have struggled up to this point because the outcomes were elusive, because of that misguidedness around the heavy spend on tech. And now we're going to pull back and say, well, if it's not that, what is it? Mm-hmm. And it really is going to come out to think about, how do you approach this more at that human, person-to-person, truly transformational level? And those that do that well will excel beyond their dreams. And those that don't are going to continue to get the results they're getting.
Right.
And the jade will continue.
Right. So maybe we press the pause button just for a quick bit, because you are with Question Pro. I have been a fan of Question Pro for, I guess I first learned about y'all 5 or 6 years ago, and I have been a fan since I met you. And tell us about Question Pro, because I think when you talk about the problem with surveys, I think it becomes even a more in-depth answer, more nuanced answer, if people understood who Question Pro is.
Sure. So Question Pro, is a mature company, in the business of, I say, helping people listen to their most important stakeholders. Hey, there's Shawn. And from that perspective, I was asked the other day to give the answer of who is Question Pro in a sentence. And I say it's the company that people have started coming to in droves when it's time to reboot their CX or EX work.
Wow.
Right. When their current initiatives have run out of gas, or their shine has come off, and they're looking for options, and they need some new thinking, fresh thinking in the space, we're the guys with the technology chops and the fresh thinking around it to deliver.
Yeah. So you deal with a lot of data. You encourage people to get data, and in that data collection, you are a champion for making sure that humans are at the center, as you were talking about earlier, right? That I think that is such a bold statement and an important statement, and one that people miss.
I think it's an inevitable need, because ultimately, I don't care if you're a B2C company, I don't care if you're a B2B company, there's still people, right? And people who work for you and people who buy from you. And if you don't treat people like human beings with wants, needs, feelings, thoughts, concerns, emotions, and just you treat them like a number or a score, or put them into a persona of some type, you lose the fact that at the end of the day, they got, flesh and blood in their bodies, and they want to be heard and felt and important.
Absolutely. So we do have a Stoke for today. And the Stoke, he says that 60% of consumers surveyed would value proactive service from a company that anticipates their needs before they even realize they are experiencing a problem.
Yep.
Why did you bring this stoke to us, Mark?
And this is something I've seen happen a long time, and we really didn't have we as a industry didn't have the technology to really think about this until somewhat recently. And the reality is, I asked the question kind of rhetorically, why do we need to have in this day and age, with all the analytics and AI and things like that that are in our arsenals, why do we need to have our customers play the role of quality assurance? Why do we need our customers have to call us and say, you had a failure?
Right.
Why can't we anticipate that customer is going to experience a failure before they know they've had a failure, and in effect resolve it proactively out in advance of that? So, and I wrote a paper about this, and it was really got some notice. And this goes back a number of years ago when this was more theoretical. Now it's very practical. But back in the theoretical days, because the technology wasn't quite there then, think about like a customer service department or like a call center environment where people, a big frontline organization for a big company. The big marching orders back then were try to strive for what they call FCR, first contact resolution, right? Mm-hmm. We don't want people calling back 2 and 3 and 7 and 18 times to solve a problem, mostly because it's expensive when they call. So the theory now is, why do they have to call at all? Right? Why can't we strive for something that I called in that paper ZCR, zero call resolution? And you think about the fact that if you can use predictive and prescriptive analytics to determine that Michael's going to have a problem because he has, let's put ourselves in the shoes of Amazon.
Yeah.
Right. Amazon, you come to Amazon's website, you order some merchandise and you buy it expecting to get it on Saturday morning at the house. Except that by this afternoon, Amazon's realizing it's not going to get to you tomorrow afternoon. There was a misrouting in the shipment, or it didn't go out of the warehouse, or that we thought we were going to get a replenishment of our product to make it go out and we didn't get it replenished in time. What do? They don't sit and have you stew on this on Saturday going, where's my box? Right? They're going to try to get out ahead of this. And in some cases, by behind the scenes, pulling back the original delayed box and expediting a new one to you to get you there tomorrow. And they could do that because they could anticipate your problem and foresee that through data and analytics before that box is not going to show up at your doorstep.
And the double click on that is try to find the 1-800 number for customer service for Amazon on their website.
Yep.
Right?
There's a large customer service team at Amazon. However, if you interview the guy who runs it, he would say, I fundamentally believe any call to my team is a failure.
Wow. That's just a mic drop. That's a double down mic drop. And why are other companies, I won't name names, chasing customer service calls and trying to make up for their mistakes instead of getting out ahead?
I mean, I think it really comes down to the research work that was done by a group that used to be called the Corporate Executive Board, or CEB. And these are the guys that invented something called customer effort score. In some ways, as another key kind of North Star metric in some spaces. And they wrote a book called The Effortless Experience, and it made a lot of sense. If you look up that book, you're going to find that they're not speaking in foreign terms. I mean, they're making a lot of sense, where they say one of the key hallmark signs of a good experience is an easy one, but only easy where it needs to be easy. Right? You don't have to make everything easy all the time. That's too hard to do. So if you determine where the things are that matter the most to make it easy, and then make those things easy. So that's where I take some thought process and I go a little bit off center with it. And what I've done, when customers come to us and say, help me understand this idea of customer effort, and how do we measure it, and how do we experience it, and how do we live up to it? I say, I think it's a great idea, but it's slightly flawed. And I said, where I think the flaw is, and this is just my one person's opinion, is that if you make something easy for a customer, but they're expecting it to be easy, there's absolutely no benefit in it.
Mm,
If you make something hard for a customer, but they're prepared for it to be hard, there's no penalty for it. So the penalties and opportunities arise when there's a mismatch with expectations.
right.
Right? Think about like my health insurance company here. There's interactions with them that I know are going to be painful, and I hold my breath and I dial the phone and I go, I hope it goes okay. And then there's others that should be really easy. Like for example, back in the days when we had membership cards for our health plan, so you could walk in to show it to the doctor, like a physical card. People lose their cards. People need a new card. They call the help plan and say, I want to replace my card. Turns out that's a very complicated transaction for people to get a new card.
Mm,
And they expect this is a baloney. This should be easy. I'm just ordering a card. I can't just click on a thing and get a new card. And so that's hard. And therefore, that's a huge pain point for a customer in that example.
absolutely.
Because they
Absolutely.
expected easy, it got
Yep.
hard, and there's that
Yep.
mismatch. And
Yep.
the ability to bring that in, the win on that is huge. But if they were saying, if I need to arrange for this with my health insurance company, and oh my God, I know it's going to be hard because it's a complex thing, and it proves to be hard because it is complex,
Yep.
they give you a hall pass on that more.
Yep. And you change your expectations.
Well, that's okay. I
Yep.
understand that. So
Yep.
I think that the goal here is to understand how to use data to do two things. One, make hard things easy when they need to be. And two, to know the difference. What areas, what parts of the customer's journey with you do you really need to make easy, and which ones are okay to be a little more challenging?
That's amazing. Yeah, and it's so very basic. So we're kind of torturing Shawn over there a little bit because he doesn't get to talk. Shawn is in Denver today. He got invited to speak at the last minute for an event that's happening, and ended up flying out and is joining us. So we will actually let you talk, Shawn. How's that?
Hey, I'm enjoying the conversation right now completely. Because you know what, Michael? Mark loves to talk as much as I do, so
Oh,
it's great, and I
I
love
could
what you guys
listen
are
all day. Yeah.
yeah, I love what you guys are talking about. You know it. We're passionate about it. Our people are passionate about it. And Mark, thanks for doing this with us today. And
I'm glad to be here with you guys.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, literally got on the ground. I'm sitting in the Denver airport right now, so doing this with you guys. And I love the topic you were just talking about. I mean, I'll tell you, I have a new experience around amazing CX. Our last previous guest was Adam Greenberg, Chief Marketing Officer from a clothing brand called One Bone, which I'm wearing everything today, my new travel outfit. And their return process, you can exchange and return so easy. And it's like, why would we not want to do that? So, but I know we have lots of other questions, Michael. So I don't know
Well,
if
I
you
want
want
to
to
get
start
back to
asking.
is CX dead, right? And no is the answer. But like dig in there with us. Like what what really is the direction that CX needs to take, knowing that CX is connected to EX and everything else that's happening in the X world. But it all comes down to CX in the end, right? That's who's exchanging the money with us.
Yes, but if I could tell you from my standpoint and kind of a little bit pragmatically, I don't know that it only comes down to CX in the end. I think it comes down to really a split with EX also. We
Okay.
can't downplay the importance, because at the end of the day, if we go back to the precept that we started with, that these are humans, and they're humans on both sides of this equation, right? And ultimately, it's people creating experiences for people. And if you think about some of the research that was done on EX, where I can't remember who, I want to say maybe it was Gallup, one of these companies did a research study recently about employee engagement in your typical United States company. And they said, I think the number was 80 or 81%, they said, of people who they studied were either disengaged or actively disengaged at their jobs.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So 8/10 of these people are checked
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Right. And some of them are 1.5 feet out the door already. And yet these are the same human beings that are expected to delight your customers.
Right.
And there's a level of a lack of authenticity in how they engage their customers when they're that checked out.
Yep.
And that's what transmits, and that's what gets picked up and felt by the customer, is that lack of authenticity in their interest in their own roles in these companies. And so if you really want to think about having a very strong customer's experience for all the right reasons of profitability and retention and growth, you can't disconnect that from how do we unleash and empower our employees to serve in a way to allow them to be their best selves at work and to really allow them to do what they believe is to be the best ways to serve their customers. And so is CX dead? No. First off, for me, I'll use the term customer experience has been around since the very first person became a customer of the very first company, because I define customer experience as the experience the customers are having from that outside in view, from the customer's shoes in view. And from that very first business transaction ever in history, right now you have a customer and a company and an experience. And from up until the time that we have a very last one, we're going to have experiences.
Right.
So customer
you can't avoid it.
It's never dead. It's always happening. The question is, do we pay attention to it? Do we try to make it better? And do we invest in it so that we could see results? And I think those things are never going to go away. I remember 2009 when we had our big housing recession and all the world going to heck in a handbasket, right? Boy, people said, you think we should still spend money on customer experience? Maybe not. It's a recession. Oh my God, maybe let's cut way back. But you know what happened? There were two types of companies in 2009, those that did and those that didn't. Those that did not came out laggards at the end of the recession. Those that did came out ahead because they were well prepared and cared for their customers and demonstrated care for their customers, even in the worst financial times. And I think
we need to think about wrapping up, as we could talk all day about all of this. But I want to make sure that we talk about the trend report from Question Pro.
Sure.
I have seen, I don't know how many trend reports for 2024. Everyone does them, right? The one that came out of Question Pro is either, in my eyes, the best or in the very, very top. I think what y'all hit on with real data and good methodology, not just whims of who thought what.
Thank you.
It's worth paying attention to. So we'll talk about how everyone can get that downloaded. But there it is right there. Can you talk just briefly about that report? It does, as we started with, it does talk about generative AI a lot. But from a human perspective, including, I love your second point, which is employee experience, DEI investments influencing customer experience. There's a lot of depth in this report, y'all.
I hope you check it out. I mean, as you saw the URL, visit questionpro.com. You'll be able to get it's the free report. Great. Feel free to log onto the website, download the paper. It's a good read. Not a hard read, but it's a good read. And we really talk a lot about these things. And again, Michael, to the point you were asking a second ago, sure, you have to have AI in it because everybody's talking about AI right now. It's on the top of everybody's minds. But it is by no means the only story that's being told. And I think that as long as we keep going back to the same point we've been drilling into here, it's a human experience. It's a total experience. It's not just customers. It's not just employees. It's those that we care about and those that we serve. And how do we use tools, technologies, and human connection to really improve these things? It's all in that report. Come check it out. It's a worthwhile report.
So listen, Michael, I have to ask this one question for you because yes, first off, the report is amazing. I read it several times, Mark, and you and some of our dear friends, Dana from Top 5 and Adrian, like great insight. But Michael and I talked about one thing specific, and I want to hit on this because I think Michael, you and I know we agree on this, but I want to hear Mark's perspective. And it's simply this question: why more than ever should the human experience be the North Star of the business?
from my standpoint, I think the sensitivity to this is higher than ever, because I think in part because of even the pandemic, because of COVID. And I think in many ways, people want to be understood that they are people, and their tolerance to be treated as anything less is reduced to nearly nothing at this point. And so when people understand that people first on the receiving side, they set a standard on how they want to be treated, and their willingness to accept less than ideal treatment is almost none. It's almost an unforgivable deal breaker in their eyes at this point. And I think that trend will only continue. But right now, I think this is a byproduct of the last 3 or 4 years, and how people have become much more aware of things that they really need with each other, and building connection and building community and feeling like part of something. And this is all part of that.
It's good stuff. It's strong stuff. And I think even in the trend report, you can find some practical stuff, no matter where you are in a company, of how you might just become a better employee, but a better leader, a better person in the business industry, to be able to actually make some impact in the world. So we thank you for all of that. We need to wrap up, so we want to make sure we know where to find you. If folks want to get in contact with you, with Marc, how would they get a hold of you?
The easiest way is just visit us on the website, questionpro.com. Okay. You'll find me on LinkedIn as well. I have the opportunity. I'm out there pretty much. So my email and my phone numbers are very public. My email address is just marc.mandel@questionpro.com. Drop me a line, Perfect. Give me a call, visit my website, and come hang out.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. We will look forward to continued conversations, and hope that you can connect with some of the folks that are watching today. So as we wrap up, Shawn, we look forward to meeting again in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Yes, we have. And actually, Marc, our next guest, you'll love this, Marc. Our next guest is Pooja Rios, New York Times bestseller and former chief revenue officer.
She's a great lady. She's a terrific lady.
And we actually heard her speak, Marc, when we were at the Question Pro Day, and she was dynamic. So she'll be with us 3 weeks from today.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. And everyone have a great weekend. And Marc, if you'll hang out, Michael and I will stay by once the stream ends. So thanks, everybody, and enjoy your weekend.